Poverty. It refers to lacking enough resources to provide the necessities of life: food, clean water, shelter, and clothing.
Here in the Philippines, poverty is a major issue. It manifests itself in different ways within the community, may it be out in the streets where the homeless dwell, below the bridge where fragments of fabric and wood are bonded together to form a home, or at church where malnourished children and hungry children ask for money. We see it everywhere, and while most of us are fortunate enough to only see it, for the millions out there in our country, they don't just see it. They feel it. They experience it firsthand.
In a nation populated by over 100 million people, 19.99 million of them live below the poverty line. This means that 1 in 5 Filipinos do not have sufficient income to meet their basic needs, and because of this, most individuals living below the poverty line are forced to find jobs at an early age to help boost their family's income.
Picture a child with all the happiness in the world as they unwrap their newly bought shoes given to them by their parents. Now imagine a child of the same age, miles away, tirelessly working under harsh factory conditions and enduring the heat of machineries as they work on those same pair of shoes in order to earn money to support themselves and their family. This is a situation thousands of children living in poverty face.
Child labor manifests itself in the community because of poverty. It is defined by the International Labor Organization as work taken on by children and adolescents that is harmful for their well-being. These include work that prives children of their childhood, their potential, and their dignity.
Child laborers are forced to give up on their formal education to focus on work not only due to a lack of resources, but also to increase the amount of income in the household by replacing their invaluable education with hard labor, hindering the child's overall development and well-being and leaving them more vulnerable to abuses, violations, and little opportunity to have a better future.
Hundreds of thousands of children in the Philippines are forced to work at young ages. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, over 600,000 of the 31.17 million youths in the country are child laborers. And while these are mere numbers to some, for the 600,000 children and many others, this is an unfortunate reality they face every day.
A study conducted by the Ecumenical Institute for Labor, Education and Research shows that 1 out of 5 households showed incidents of child labor. Children are forced to juggle multiple jobs, endure longer working hours, and exposure to social hazards, such as use of illegal drugs and occupational health and safety hazards.
The children and their families have no means to escape the vicious cycle of generational poverty, as child laborers work the same kind of low-income, labor-intensive jobs and generate just enough income to eat and work the next day. Unable to finish basic education, they are unable to apply to stable work which demands technical skills they do not have.
Do we really want this to continue happening to so many children in our nation?
They are being robbed of their childhoods. Children working in hazardous industries are exposed to the dangers and perils of heavy physical work, exposure to chemicals, and unsafe working conditions. At their tender age, these children are deprived of the right to education, right against economic exploitation, and the right to have everything they need to have a better future.
This needs to stop, and without immediate action, the problem will only continue to grow.
If this is the case, then what do we need to do?
It all comes down to our love for our people and our children. The love of humankind, better known as charity, is an extraordinary force which leads people to opt for courageous and generous engagement in the field of justice and peace.
Pope Benedict XVI's encyclical letter Caritas in Veritate, meaning charity in truth, links charity and truth in the pursuit of social justice, common good, and human development. It challenges the traditional ideologies of right and left, which calls the people to think and act anew.
This dynamic of charity received and given is what gives rise to the Church's social teaching, which is Caritas in Veritate in Re Sociali, the proclamation of truth in Christ's love in society.
Caritas in Veritate calls us to practice authentic love grounded on truth, starting with justice and promoting the common good in our economic decisions rather than the pursuit of constrained, short-term economic interests.
The Pope writes explicitly that justice abhors great disparities in wealth and that societies need to prioritize the goal of access to steady employment for everyone.
Employment, however, needs to be decent work, and such work expresses the essential dignity of every man and woman, work that is freely chosen, effectively associating workers, both men and women, with the development of their community.
It is work that enables a worker to be respected and free from any form of discrimination. Work that makes it possible for families to meet their needs and provide schooling for their children, without the children themselves being forced into labor.
It is work that permits the workers to organize themselves freely and to make their voices heard. Work that leaves enough room for rediscovering one's roots at a personal, familial, and spiritual level. Work that guarantees those who have retired a decent standard of living.
Pope Benedict affirms the moral importance of unions in labor associations as an organized voice for the working class. They must be more than economic, self-interested units caught in the logic of exchange. He dares unions to be in solidarity with workers and laborers. This role includes advocating for appropriate working conditions and the safety of the people.
Worker associations must be involved in Caritas activity, which by definition entails a drive for justice that serves the common good.
Truth preserves and expresses charity's power to liberate itself from the ever-changing events of history. Development, social well-being, the search for a satisfactory solution to the grave socioeconomic problems such as poverty and child labor besetting humanity, all need this truth. Without truth, without trust and love for what is true, there is no social consequence and responsibility. What we need is that this truth is loved and demonstrated.
To one another, we are gifts, which is why we must all do our part in promoting and protecting the rights of our people and our children. God's love challenges us to look beyond the finite and transient, giving us the courage to keep looking for and working for the good of all.
Even if this is not possible right away, and even if we are able to accomplish with the help of political leaders and economists is never as much as we would like, let us be courageous in the fight for justice for our child laborers and as well as our brothers and sisters suffering in poverty.
Let us take action by donating to NGOs, volunteering with a charity, advocating for the poor, and imparting education onto others.
Let us do as much as we can in charity and truth in order to help others as a reflection of God's unending love for humanity.